We were bantering, but you were playing with mics while we're over here bantering about making noises.
Well, I gotta do that.
We've got enough candy on this thing that I was just talking about how Mike's got to be like in heaven right now with all the snacks up here.
Yeah,
Is that what the banter's about?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Why can't you just talk about snacks and have fun, man?
Welcome everybody to Effing Around with Mo, Mike, and Joe.
I'm Joe.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Mo. Today we have with us Brad from F'nPoint. We're gonna be fucking around. So before we do anything though, we gotta do a tradition. Shout out to shot.
Shout out to shot.
Cheers.
Right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Remember, if you're at home, if you drink shot, make sure you mix it and dilute it.
Mix
You
it
don't-
in.
Follow the recipe.
Don't
Follow
do
the
what we
recipe.
do.
Salud.
I made it regular. I made a shot. I made a drink.
That's
You follow the
delicious.
rules,
Right?
Right?
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's peach.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Peach is my favorite.
Oh, I did
Oh,
not
hell
know
yeah.
that. So we lucked out.
Yep.
Yeah.
They have multiple flavors. We just grabbed the peach, but it's very potent because you're supposed to mix it with soda water and drink it, and it makes like an energy drink. But so I'm not drinking currently. So we started off with one of our sponsors is Little Joe's, and they make vodka. So they would do shots of vodka, but I don't drink. So Little Joe's actually found this for us. We reached out to them, and they decided to send us a whole case of it to start drinking it in the beginning, and it became a thing. And normally we'd have you do a shot of vodka with us of Little Joe's.
That's the mixer for the vodka.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yep.
But
Yeah, but you need
We're
to do
sans
more.
vodka today.
You need
correct.
more than
We got to
that,
follow the
though.
rules of the state.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Right.
100%.
So, Brad, tell us about how you came to to get into the cannabis industry.
Okay. Well, I'm sort of an entrepreneur. So I've been starting small businesses since about 1990. And so I had like an ATM company, and it was mostly in Puerto Rico at the time of the licensing for cannabis in the first round. So in 2014, I applied for 3 licenses, Oak Park, Evanston, and Highland Park. And so we had locations lined up. We went through the process. We didn't know what we were doing. No one really did because it was the first time there was an application process in Illinois. So we ended up hiring some experienced lawyers from Massachusetts that had already won people licenses. Mm-hmm. And we came into it kind of late. We only took 2 months to do it. But I basically didn't do anything in my ATM business and just ran around trying to put together the application with the lawyers and do all the field work that was necessary to fill out the application and get community support and all that. And so we did that in those 3 areas, and it worked pretty well. Luckily, we won the license in Oak Park, and then we were second place in Evanston, so we didn't get a license there, but we were close. And also in Lake County, where the Highland Park one, we were the next one, so we were 4th, and there were 3 licenses. So we were super close to 3 licenses, just being amateurs, So we're happy. The Oak Park location ended up being tremendous. If you guys have been to downtown Oak Park, we were like at Lake in Harlem, and Target's across the street from that store now. So it was just like, a real urban, suburban area. Every big box store, bank, and Starbucks, and everyone was right there. So there was a lot of foot traffic and parking lot right next door. It worked out real well. And so we had one of the first medical dispensaries in Illinois.
Nice.
So that was really interesting and gave us a real medical perspective with cannabis. And we had all the staff that we hired pretty much came through the events that we put on during the time while our build out was happening. So people needed to go through a whole bunch of hoops to get a medical card when it started. You had to get fingerprinted, if you remember that. You had to fill out a bunch of paperwork. You had to get a diagnosis. So we had over 150 events before we even opened because it took a long time for the construction. So we had these events in local libraries in Oak Park and the surrounding suburbs. And And then we just invited people to come. We would help them fill out their applications. We would bring a fingerprinter there. And so we just kept getting people into the program, even though we didn't have a store. Then when we opened, we invited all those people to the store and we gave them coupons and everything else. And it worked out really well. We had a great little store. It was super cool. It was very spa-like. I could show you later. You know, it wasn't like a doctor's office or anything like that. And so we ended up selling the store to a public company. I started in 2019 applying for these other licenses that were, you know, becoming available because it legalized in Illinois. And I had this ATM company that I sold to. So I made a little money and poured it all back into this, basically.
Into this 7-point here.
Right.
And other things too. So
Okay.
we applied, we had some different groups. My primary business partner, her name's Amy Lee. She's at the Keefe Fest right now with some of our team from here. And she was my first employee in Oak Park. She lives in Oak Park. She's a licensed clinical social worker. So she was able to really like implement the education part of the business because she was passionate about cannabis and saw it work for family members of hers. And she put out all that education before we opened and continued on with it. And so anyway, we're business partners in this store. And then, but at the time, we also applied for some grow licenses, transport licenses, and some licenses in the Detroit area. So we won 2 craft grow licenses a couple years ago. But, you know, when we started looking at how expensive everything would be to get into this, there was no way that we could, you know, raise like 20 million to 25 million and do both.
What
you
was
know?
like the most like difficult or challenging license to get?
Well, I would say the dispensaries were because there was so much competition in the Chicago area, especially. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We applied in the Chicago region 10 times, and then we put in another 13 applications for other areas outside of the Chicago region, like Danville, for example. Right. So like I decided before we started that like I just drew a circle around my house and everything within 3 hours we applied in. And so this is like 2 hours and 45 minutes. So it just made the cutoff.
Yeah.
Right at the tip of that circle, right?
Yeah.
And that's how it works, because the further away you go from Chicago, the less competitive it is.
So walking through here, and I don't know if you guys have the same feeling, and I can't wait for everyone to see the video and kind of see how this place looks, but it gave me that feeling of, what was that movie? Empire Records.
Yes.
So I had that
Yes.
feeling of Empire Records walking through, and just that feeling where you could picture people sitting there looking through records, hanging out.
Right.
Like you created this atmosphere of, okay, I just want to be here and relax and hang out. Or Hyde's a record store back in that 70s show.
Yeah, the show, that 70s show, they had the record store they always hung out at.
Because I know you always reference that movie, so maybe or that show. It's a show
Right.
before your time.
I know what that 70s show is.
You sure?
I think so. No.
You know what's fucked up, dude? I saw something recently. It's like if that 70s show was made today.
Yes, I don't even say it.
It was the 90s show or something like that? Is that what it would have been?
It'd be like that 2006 show.
2000? Damn, dude.
Some shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god.
Who would be in it? Who would be in it? That's the
Oh,
question.
man.
Right, it'd be a little crazy, but I mean, I really like what you did at this place. It's amazing.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
I do have a question because we're very familiar and we kind of been around this. So how long have you been open here right now?
Just over a year. We opened 420 last year.
So how hard
Oh,
of that was
nice.
a So when did you win your license?
They announced the lottery winners. So ultimately, the winners in dispensaries were lottery winners because there were ties and so many people got close scores and there was litigation. So they drew the names. I think it would be like 3 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe 2022 or something, because it was after most of COVID and all
Okay.
that. And then, but even though they released the lottery winners, there was still litigation going. So they wouldn't like issue the licenses for even some time after that. But we were able to at least start exploring properties, and we got out here very fast and wrapped up the prime location on the Indiana border,
Yep. So
I feel like people are still waiting for their licenses.
I think there's a couple of things still in litigation.
so the main litigation he's talking about, guys, if you remember our guest Juan Finch,
Yeah.
that's the suit you're talking about, where Juan sued the state.
Well, a whole bunch of us sued the state.
But he was one of our guests for it, and he was the one that talked. He was the buddy I served in the military with.
Right.
He was one of the litigations that stopped it. Dark matter. So we got a bunch of snacks and treats here.
We got a lot of stuff right here.
So
that,
before I start opening stuff and eating it, I thought maybe you want to say something how you got all these amazing things from different places. I mean, we were just talking about Hammond's. Like, you have this place called Hammond's for all these snacks. These cones were amazing, but we finished them before we started.
We have more.
Yeah, and then
No
all
problem.
these dark matter coffees. I mean,
Well, we just, we've had other businesses, so, we understand how to see opportunities. But here's my dark matter.
Nice.
Coffee, it's cold, but I wanted to show the mug because dark matter is like slogan, drink coffee, stay high. So we can deal with that, We're
Hey.
selling the mugs.
for any what Chicagoans right there too. We got them Malort coffee right here.
and if
And I
anyone
can't wait to try it though.
and if anyone doesn't remember, Little Joe's is heading to Italy right now. They're on a plane
Yep.
and they're on a mission to bring Malort to the Pope. And they have their meeting with him May 28th, and they're bringing a bottle of Malort from Malort to bring to the Pope in Rome.
Okay?
Yeah.
If there's anything you'd like to offer the Pope in our store, you're welcome to have it.
I don't think it can make the flight.
I'm offering to provide it. The possession thing
what
is on
happens,
you
so-
guys.
Tell me, Joe, that thing gets blasted or whatever, so it comes back here. Will they put it in a shrine at Little Joe's or something?
I think they would. I think
Yeah.
they'd put it on a shelf and saying, the blessed Malort.
Right, but then is it gonna be all
People will
Like
come
old
around the world
school.
to pray to it.
right? Like would they go super old? Will they go super old school with it? Right, like get a big picture of the Pope, put it behind glass.
We are in Little
Sitting
Italy.
there. Maybe they bejewel it a little bit.
Put the,
who knows?
Put the candles and a little incense there.
Exactly.
Maybe
Exactly.
like an Al's beef next door.
I mean, it's right down the street.
It's funny you said that because the Little Joe's is down on the same block as L's.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, about five doors down.
Perfect.
Exactly. It's actually right across from Tuscany.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, it's about the snacks. I wanted to chime in about them. We're in an area here where there's no food. So when we opened the store, we didn't figure out how to sell sandwiches or anything yet. But we just understand that there's 10 or so motels and a gas station without real food, just snacks, and a casino that has a sit-down restaurant. But there's nowhere just to get something quick. So we offer a lot of snacks. I brought out those olive oil bruschettis, but because we have cheese, but I didn't get to the cheese yet.
I'm not gonna be able to pick you up with that.
So we have some string cheese for a
Oh,
buck
wow.
or
Oh,
something. And, just because there's nothing to eat on the way back to Indianapolis
Right.
except McDonald's, basically. It's a rough road. There's nothing really interesting on the way. So, we've got dried fruit and,
So I've been staring at
No,
this
it
all the
sounds
time.
so good.
Hammond's Pig and Taters, and I've been dying to try a piece, and they told me I couldn't try it
Okay.
until we open it.
All right,
It's a
well,
po-
let's
it's a
talk
potato
about
chip-
Hammond's.
It's a potato chip and bacon bit chocolate bar.
What the fuck, dude? I want to try something.
Read the ingredients in the midnight one, the dark one.
Milk chocolate with pretzel, cookie, peanut butter, or peanut brittle, mallow, and cereal. Holy
Oh
moly.
wow.
So this is okay,
Hey,
if this isn't for munchies, what is?
Right. That's what I was
Yeah.
gonna say. I was like, this is straight up.
This is like a childhood and stoner's dream.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, I'm currently not smoking or drinking. These are delicious.
I can't eat it dairy free, but you guys enjoy it.
Oh, we will.
It's
I
interesting.
wish I could try it.
I taste the chocolate. I taste the bacon. I taste the potato chips.
So our resident designated hitter, what'd you give it?
No, these aren't THC anything. These
No,
are
I
all-
meant the designated hitter. I mean the one at the table who's high, who can eat it.
Oh,
So far,
No, these are
I
fucking good,
tried
though.
the potato chip one. Pretty good.
Yeah, we got PB&J.
I'm opening it right now.
Yeah, we got PB&J. We got malted milkshake.
And anyone, if anyone asks Mike or Mo, they will tell you nobody eats more sweets than me.
yeah.
Nobody.
This is an everything bagel. So if you want
Oh,
to
shit.
sweet and salt,
Oh, wow.
we got it. And then the seaside caramel. So this thing with Hammond's is kind of an interesting story. So Hammond's is a chocolate factory in Denver. And one of my daughters is graduating from the University of Denver in a couple weeks. So this friend of mine from college noticed on Facebook that I was going to Denver all the time over the last few years. So she texted me and said, my brother owns this chocolate factory there, and you should go take a tour of it. You know, they had tours and stuff. So this was a couple years ago, but I was already looking for snacks for the store because I wanted to have food. So I went and met with the Hammond's head, and we decided to try a whole bunch of candy in the store. And these candy bars that you're eating have been super successful here. They're like $4, something like that, and you know, we've reordered them so many times.
No, they are
Absolutely
really good.
delicious.
Very
I
rich.
can eat them all day. An Arrow.
Yeah. Oh, Arrow is a good chocolate.
I love
man.
Arrow.
Oh my
so
goodness.
I grew up eating
Yeah.
this as a kid in Ireland, and I was so happy when I started to come here.
Yeah,
Nice.
I was in Lebanon
Because it's
as a
not
kid
big in
all day.
America.
Yeah.
Most
No,
people
it
don't
really
know
isn't.
about it. It's kind of like Flake. And if you
Yep.
hadn't had it, it's like this very aerated chocolate by Nestle, but for some reason, it's not massive here.
Right.
Yeah.
But over there, it's very well known.
These are so good, man.
We
I
have
haven't had
like
them in so long.
we have like a combination of different ways that we get these snacks. Like some are, you know, like Cisco is a big distributor and they supply all the drinks in our refrigerator pretty much. But then like all these snacks come a whole bunch of different ways. So, you know, the company Fair, like their website, their portal for small merchants
Yeah.
that manufacture food. And so they have hundreds of food manufacturers that, so we go for the ones that have low minimum orders because we don't have a lot of space.
Right.
We're not going to sell tons of this stuff. And so we can like just filter out, you know, all the big minimums, right? And then we'll go to the ones that say like top sellers. So then we can narrow down their top sellers and get the best flavors. And then some of the other things, we have a grower that we buy from in Illinois, and their friend makes this popcorn. We just started carrying it like 2 weeks ago, probably.
It's
That's
delicious.
a peanut butter
Butter and
chocolate,
chocolate
yeah.
popcorn.
Peanut butter and chocolate, small batch. This is made in Mackinac City, Michigan. So that's where my friends are from in Detroit. And so we're just trying to bring food to Danville that they don't see. And
Otherwise, it doesn't exist out here, right?
no,
and a
'cause
lot-
it's just like Walmart and Myers.
When we
Right.
started, what was our, do you guys remember our slogan when we first started?
No, what was
Craft cares, corporate doesn't.
it? Yeah.
And you're probably very familiar within this industry,
is.
and that's kind of why we started saying it, because, I mean, I've got my
we
background in
haven't said that
cannabis.
in a while,
I know
actually.
we
Yeah,
haven't,
that's
because
crazy.
we moved all assholes.
Oh yeah. Yep.
All assholes, no excuses.
Yeah, so we just keep paring down, just kind of like the cannabis, where we're striving for the best menu of what people want, and the things that people don't buy, you know, we'll discount it and move on and not carry it anymore. We're trying to do the same thing with these snacks because we just have a limited area. We're getting rid of the things that people didn't like, and we find that the Hammond's chocolate items are really like our best sellers. People want chocolate when they're buying weed. These other like gummy bears and the worms, they're also successful because this is a great brand, the
Oh,
Albanese. But like they want chocolate here.
So
I
that's a
rem-
local brand as well.
Yeah, I remember Albanese when the edibles and everything first started hitting. People were just buying Albanese out the gate and just dropping it.
In Michigan, they do that a lot.
So instead of making their own, so you could take any bite in what it was,
Yeah.
they literally just like pour it over or inject it in the middle. So if you ate an ear, you got nothing. You had to eat from like the middle
Yeah.
instead of making their own. They're super lazy with it.
Yeah. Yep. And less regulated in Michigan, so you could get away with stuff.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of lawsuits I've seen in Michigan now of real food manufacturers going after all these brands that are just,
The lazy
completely
knockoffs.
copying the whole packaging, like, Reese's and Oreos, and they're all getting sued now.
And they're doing a
Oh,
lot of that
really?
to the
Wow.
hemp industry. The hemp industry has a lot of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're very
Yeah.
familiar with
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
Yeah, we've had a lot of episodes about that.
We've definitely talked about it quite a few times. So have you had any mix-ups or with stuff people, or you'd say, where suppliers or other dispensaries where it's kind of like a war? I mean, from a dispensary's point of view?
Oh, a dispensary war?
Yeah. I was curious
Well,
about
like
that.
against Sunnyside across the street?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're friends. We carried their products a lot in our last store, and we have all their best products in this store. But we're both in it to win, and we're still growing. They've had that foothold in the area for 4 or 5 years now, so it's hard to pull customers away. But our strategy really has not been 100% to crush Sunnyside, right? Our goal has been to increase the market, right, and bring more customers here so that we can all win, right? And so we have done a very aggressive marketing campaign on a couple fronts. We work with a company called Surfside. They're from Detroit. They are out of New York though now, and they represent like 3,000 dispensaries. So we're using them for Google marketing, like paid search and display ads, and like the reports that we get for the progress, like we're crushing it. But again, it's limited competition because we're going into Indiana, and some of our competitors aren't aggressively marketing that business. So we are, and it's paying off. So we now have, by the end of this month, we'll have 19 billboards
Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
for one store. So
Yeah, I mean, look, how many fireworks billboards do you see in Illinois when fireworks are illegal here?
right.
Yeah.
And then like going to Michigan through Indiana,
Oh,
there's
no,
a ton
no.
by New Buffalo now.
Yeah.
Hundreds of billboards. But it's interesting because just a few weeks ago, and I think it was this month, Indiana passed a bill.
I was about to say. I saw that.
They banned all forms of advertising in the state for cannabis. However,
really?
yeah, it just happened, but it's been in the works for a couple months, and we prepared for it because the legislators are going to let the existing advertisers continue through their contract.
So you have a long-term contract.
So we got long-term contracts with all the vendors of our billboards, and they were all on top of this too. So it was very easy to do that. And then it just got like signed into law the other day, but we got 7 new billboards because of that. And we have 4 in Illinois, and we have 15 will be in Indiana. And now no one else can go do that. So
Worked out perfectly.
we're in Indianapolis on 465. We have 1 in south of Lafayette now, and we're putting 2 into Lafayette and West Lafayette, where Purdue University is.
We should ask Ryan next time we talk to him if he sees his billboards when he's driving, because that's where he goes for the organ transplant.
Oh right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's some.
I'll show you the billboard. It's green and smoky.
So there's
Green and
there's
smoky.
3 dispensaries in Danville then, right?
2.
I thought there was one maybe 20 minutes out for Key
Right,
Fest.
but that's in Tilton.
Oh, Tilton.
That's
Got
the
it.
town next door.
Okay.
And then so where were we?
The 2 dispensaries and he's
we're talking about the
testifying
market.
for the product right now. Just so you
Yeah,
know, that was a
it works.
testament to the product.
we have this marketing that's really focused in Indiana, and like additionally, we have in Terre Haute, they opened up a new casino, like a pretty large casino, and like a spa hotel, and so we put billboards at the entrance to that casino off the highway, and then when you get back on to go back to Indianapolis, they're going to see it again. And then we have another one by a school, and it's Indiana State over there too.
Oh wow.
And then we also now, our new strategy, we'll see if it pays off, with the 5 of the new 7 billboards, we're going after the Ohio market.
Uh-huh.
So like our competition is Sunnyside and in Tilton, but you know, all these people in Indiana, they could go to Michigan. It's farther. They could go to Ohio. It's a little farther, but maybe the same if they live more east, or, you know, and then they could come here. It's probably the shortest distance. We're the closest dispensary to Indy, but it's maybe 20 minutes longer only to get to Ohio. And, you know, they might have lower taxes or whatever there. I don't know. But now, like we're on 74 here. So if you took 74 to Indy and then kept going, you'd be in Ohio. It's like 3 hours. And so they have on the border in Ohio, in Oxford, where Miami University of Ohio is. I have a nephew there. And then on the way to Cincy off 70 is, I may have mixed those up, but there's 70 and 74. So on 70, we have 2 billboards going back from Ohio. So as soon as they cross the border, there's one. And then like on their way back home, and then they'll probably see one in Indianapolis too. Right. And then same with 74. So they go to Ohio, they buy weed, they probably have a decent experience, but now we're gonna tell them on the way home, okay, well, we're here too, we might be closer, and you could smoke here and eat.
Right.
So it's just more, we're just trying to offer more, so we're more of like a real destination, and you know, the lounge and the food trucks, stuff like that, are going to help us differentiate.
I'll definitely say the all the snacks that you have right here is way better than what's across the street right now. But God damn.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, if I lived down here, I'd be here every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking at it, I'm thinking about it. I mean, at this point, like with all the snacks, foods, and things you're doing, it's kind of sad that it's not in the front part of it where you can keep it open late night. So you close the dispensary part and still start selling food and stuff out front. Yeah. I can picture someone going by, oh, look, oh, wait, they got food too.
You know?
Oh, look, the dispensaries drive-through still open.
They might not have weed, but they got something to eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens when we get a food truck out here, because you know there's lots of things we could do with the truck. We could do delivery, we could do DoorDash if it was popular. But what I really like about the food truck is it's a way for us to get closer to the street level. Yeah. Like you guys are Chicago people.
Yeah.
You know, if you're in Chicago and you say something's across the street, it's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see it. You could almost touch it. Your next door neighbor, you can't touch it. It might even be connected to your building. Here, between us and Sunnyside, it's across the street, but I don't think you can see it from that window. And there's actually maybe like 4 roads to cross right here to get there, because
at least lanes.
Yeah.
Definitely lanes.
well, we've got this little road here that we're on as Eastgate, and then Lynch is the main road, and then there's another little road back there, another form of Lynch. And so it's not a walking across the street, it's a driving across the street.
And no insult to Sunnyside at all. I mean, they, as a brand and expansion, they're one of the largest and they do amazing.
Yeah.
But driving up, we actually thought it was new. They were under construction.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought they were brand new. I'm like, oh, look, Sunnyside's here too.
Just because of their sign, they looked like they didn't even build a sign. They just wrapped it with one of the vinyl things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we thought it was like, hey, let's rush to open really quick.
Let's make sure everybody knows that we're here.
That
we
building,
wait for the real sign.
That building used to be Elias Brothers Big Boy. So there was a restaurant here at one point.
Den.
But it didn't make what?
I thought you were going to say Lion's Den.
Oh, I know Lion's Den.
Exactly. They're all over these roads.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Indiana's very familiar with them.
So we're trying to because we didn't really plan for being doing local marketing like on our property. It wasn't until we got here and realized that we're in need of more things on the outside to help people understand what we are. And so the couple things that we've done here that since we opened are, when we opened, in the front of the building it just said the 7-Point. But very recently, like 2 months ago, we added the sign over here that says Cannabis and Vinyl Records.
Yes.
So we didn't have that for like a year. And we understand that some people didn't know even what the hell we did here when they were at Sunnyside, and Sunnyside certainly isn't going to help us out and tell them. So, we're telling the people better now. And then there's a bunch of trees out there that you can see from here, and we're going to knock them all down. Nothing against the trees, but they're really in our way, and we have the permission to do it. So our friends that are helping us put together a couple things in the lounge in here that we'll get to, they're going to chop down the trees after they build the stage and the bar here.
So what was the name of your first place you did, and then how did you create the name of this place?
7-Point. They were both 7-Point.
Oh, they were both 7-Point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, the name had a history, so we didn't want to change the name.
I was about to ask you where'd the name come from?
Well, the 7-Point comes from like a common 7 points on a leaf.
Okay.
So there's typically like 5 or 7. And when we were thinking about names like 10 years ago, my wife came up with that name. So it kind of stuck.
Yeah.
It stuck over the other ones. So, especially like back then, we didn't want to be like, overtly marketing like a marijuana leaf for our brand, like a lot of Colorado stores have, or a cross. We wanted it to be like more sophisticated, where it had meaning, but it wasn't like obvious.
Like too in your face about it,
Yeah. Because part of what we're doing, and other cannabis companies for sure are doing the same thing. We just want to normalize the business,
Right.
So it's like, if it's a regular name that people aren't going to be like, we don't want that. And like, you can't show the cannabis leaf in Illinois in your
really?
sign
I
and your
didn't know
marketing.
that.
Yeah.
No shit.
So it doesn't really, there's no point in
Right.
like having it be all green or whatever. We don't need it to be green. Our billboards though are green. I'll look it up and show you when we're effing around later. But it's cool. We have this cool billboard designer, and it's green and cloudy, and but
Kind of like a smoky green thing. Okay,
it's
that
smoky
And I didn't
and
see you
green.
going there. I thought you were going to say something about 2/8,
sounds cool. About 2/8.
7-Point grams.
Oh no shit.
That's where my head was. So I was curious where you went to, because I was thinking like everyone else likes to advertise for an 1/8 or 3.5,
Yeah.
and you're like,
Right.
no, we're 7 points.
Yeah, well, we have some products in the works that we're going to collaborate with, like a licensee that manufactures, and some of those things will be like 7 milligram edibles, like exactly what you're saying.
That's kind of cool.
So, like,
Yeah,
Right.
0.7 joints. That's
Yeah.
common though.
But
Yeah.
that's why
But
like
yes.
my head went there. So I was
Yes.
curious, but I wanted to see where you went with it.
Yep. We'll update you when those launch, but we're working on it.
And then have you also, like, I just thought about this. Do you have any designs that are literally just 7 points, those 7 points of the leaf? Nothing else? So if somebody wanted to, they could connect those dots and figure out what it is.
I like it.
But if you were to just have your point, where the 7 points are,
On the
I mean, that
leaf.
makes
Maybe
it
we
as
could do,
subtle
like-
as subtle as you can be, as far as,
Right.
trying not to be so like, oh yeah, I don't have,
great
you don't have to
idea.
be like more sophisticated about it. You just got the
That's
you
kind
know,
of cool.
diamond
Yeah.
here, like a star, like
Yeah.
a diamond,
That's
boom,
yourself.
boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Hey, we're open to anything that's cool and interesting. Like, that's what all this is about, trying to bring fun stuff to the consumer instead of the same old, just branded shelving, cannabis displays that you see in every single store. We just wanted to be able to like bring more of the experience to it, and then music just makes so much sense with cannabis.
Absolutely.
We wanted to bring the artwork and stuff. Like, one of the things that's interesting about all the music art that everyone's going to see on the tour is that we collected that stuff over like 15 years. Every year at the Park West for a while, there was this event from this charity called Rock for Kids, and the Jam Productions people like were behind that. So they would have like a silent and a live auction every year at that Park West, and we went to support the cause, which was giving year-round music lessons to kids, like inner city kids, and so we bought all these things from there, and they cover our whole house with it now. And so like we have more stuff that we could bring down, but like that the whole concept of having like kids get music lessons, we still think about that because that's like, you know, the art that's in this building is from that experience. And
Right. Kids
you know,
that got together.
Yeah,
put a
there's
band
street
together,
kids here
right.
that need to get off the streets here too, and lack of funding for programs in Danville. And so the area is ripe for like, you know, these kind of programs. And I actually met a couple people this week that could help me with it. But, you know, we just need to get profitable before we can like start worrying about contributing to stuff. But we think that would be a really like worthy cause in the area, and then just like bring it all full circle, you know, where you know, 15 years ago we were helping kids get music lessons, and we could do that here. And
that would be so fucking cool, bro.
yeah,
Yeah, you know, I just thought, man, they just took down that the guitar from the Hard Rock
That'd have been perfect.
downtown. This would
Right on the roof.
look great on the roof.
Giant guitar.
on the roof.
Yeah,
You know, when
yeah, I'd really bring them in from the highway.
we tried to get something on the roof, and the city wouldn't let us.
Oh,
Just like we were talking about, like how we can market the property to the street. Right? So we asked them if we could get. They have like you've seen them in Chicago, inflated things that are humongous that could go on a roof for like an opening or whatever. So we tried. We completed the permit application for one of those, and they're like, "We won't let you put anything on the roof." But it was like a spaceship, and we could have said like, "Get higher at 7-point."
Right.
It'd be like
Nice.
suspended up from the roof. That would have been cool, but no dice.
Now,
No dice.
what about if you had some sort of like hot air or helium that
Well, that's what
floated over the roof? And you got your support ropes nailed down to 7 points around this building.
So it's funny talking about roof. I remember it was like 2017, I think it was 2018 maybe. I was at the marijuana convention, MJ BizCon
Yep.
in Vegas, and I was getting tours of the facility. So we had already done a, what's it called? One of the caregiver grows in Michigan, and we were looking to do our first industrial one, the one I did in Michigan. And we were out there, and I was touring facilities, and I'm doing the absolutely amazing facility, touring it, and massive build out, multiple buildings. It was amazing. And I was looking at the first building, and I go, how much did this first building cost to do with, like, you know, the AC, the electrical, and all this? And he looked at me right in the face. He goes, how much did it cost that I know what it costs now? How much did it cost me to do? I'm like, okay, let's get both. He goes, it took me $20 million to teach me. It would only cost me $5 million.
move the mic over to the right side of you. Yeah.
He's like, it cost me and I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, well, first I realized I needed more AC. Then I needed more lights. But the problem was we didn't have the space outside to put the AC. So we put it all on the roof. And you know what happens when your roof doesn't have infrastructure? You lose your roof and it becomes part of your first floor. So they brought in all these giant AC and all these like things, filled the whole roof with it to cover the amount of AC they need to cool the room because they didn't realize it was going to get so hot because you're already in Vegas and they're heating it with the lights. And this was back before they were doing LEDs, and they're still doing, you know, the sodium ones, and it just came right through.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I've heard that they put that stuff on the ground sometimes now because it's too expensive to support the roof for it.
But like the learning curve for this industry has been amazing and interesting this whole way.
I mean, it's still fairly new, no? Like
It
there's like a lot
is
of it
still,
to like,
yes.
Yeah, to get into, to like, I'm growing pains for it, right?
Yeah.
At that moment. Also with like a lot of fucked up shit, like that's also happening in the background with it, and it just,
No, we're all very familiar.
you know?
We're very familiar how this industry works.
Oh man,
What other cannabis places have you guys been to? Like in Illinois,
Like-
any other cannabis ones?
So there was we went to was it Prohibition Lounge in the South Loop.
So it's a hemp facility.
It's a hemp.
Okay.
You're,
you know,
you're our first on-site interview for a dispensary.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
this was-
Other than that, it was we went to the Chicago Flower Expo.
Mm-hmm.
We went to what was the award show? Best in
Oh yeah.
Best
What was that one?
best in class or best in flower.
Best in something. It was
bud
a
tender
award show at
thing.
Park
Right.
West.
yeah, the
Yeah.
Park West Award show. We went to
In
that.
November, I think. This past November. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we just started getting out and stepping out, and I mean,
Yeah.
we kind of have you could say, a love-hate with the industry. Some people,
Me
were willing,
too.
some people are willing to talk to us, and other people don't even want to acknowledge we exist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I think everyone's different. Some people don't want to share all their stuff and,
Yeah.
want to keep it to themselves. But like,
No, he's talking about sometimes like we show up to places and people leave.
They won't even acknowledge us.
Like they just don't want to. They don't want to have anything to do with or whoever they're maybe
Involved
connected
with,
to
yeah.
doesn't want any connection to us, which is so funny.
okay.
We
Well, that makes it more interesting.
yeah, we had
Right.
people walk
Really
out
is.
of Chicago Flower Expo when we walked in, and then they walked back in when we
As
walked
we're leaving into
out.
the parking lot.
Yeah.
Said hello
We've
to
had-
us in the parking lot. Everything's cool.
we've
Hi,
had
how we
some
doing?
people, who did not know who we were at that moment, followed us on like our pages and everything, and then the next day completely unfollowed and blocked us.
Right.
Well, there was another podcast there. I got interviewed like on the spot for it,
Uh-huh.
but they didn't put it out there yet, and they're not sure if they will probably. But yeah, they were interviewing people at the exit, like,
Yeah.
but they were looking for them walking around, and then they would bring them out there. So maybe
No,
too much podcasts in one place, they could get violent.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm starting to picture like a Ron Burgundy-esque like battle royale.
like,
podcast
like
host.
he's talking about one where we're sitting in there at the award show, and a
Yeah.
guy made me pull out my phone, add him on LinkedIn, and begged us to talk to him and bring him on the show.
Yep.
And then 2 days later, somebody must have told him who we were, and he went through and removed all of us.
yeah.
Wow.
No, it wasn't just one time either.
Yeah, it's happened more than once.
It's
Or people
happened a
reach
couple
out, they
times.
want to talk, and then someone's like, "Yeah, you can't talk." to
Yeah.
them.
No, it's been very fun.
You guys are like the rogue underground podcast guys.
I mean,
not
that's,
even.
That's how
No.
you know. That's how you know the good people versus the bad people. You know, like
We don't edit. We
If they
don't.
try
We
to
don't pull
hide-
punches.
if they try to hide, you did something wrong. You know.
Yeah, we don't edit our episodes. We
Yeah.
don't pull punches. We're
Yeah.
very honest about what's going on, and it's probably mostly because of the fact they love the fact that we're a podcast, and then they
Yeah.
find out about my lawsuit and they don't want to talk.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, because they may be in some way, shape, or form
Friends.
friends or associates with the involved, and then now
The
what are you
other-
doing
the
on
other
their
side of the
show?
lawsuit?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Right.
I don't know about the lawsuit, so.
No, it doesn't.
No, I'm very transparent. Everybody
Yeah.
know I'm very public.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm the one suing New Era Cannabis.
Oh, okay.
So that's all I have to say.
Okay. Well, you know what they say, like the enemy of your enemy is your friend.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay. So he's
He's very
There you
familiar.
go.
same, same,
Same, but different.
but different. It's the same.
Same thing.
Yeah. We could talk offline.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
As I said, we're very transparent about it. There's no reason to say anything on the air, but if you listen to any of our earlier episodes, it's pretty obvious. Our whole first
Yeah.
couple episodes was me literally explaining all the things that I did.
Like I want to say, like the first 10 to 12 episodes were literally that.
We're in the 30s now,
Yeah,
though.
right.
We're in the 30s. Don't worry about
I'm
that.
going to listen to them now.
He's like, I didn't care about you guys now, but now I care.
I'll comment too.
Go for it.
Feel
We love
free.
comments.
We do. Hate us? Comment. Don't like us? Comment. Either
I'm
way.
going to direct you guys to oh, it might not be.
Don't say it on the air.
record it.
Say it.
A city, just a city meeting that they were at.
Oh, are you talking about
okay.
June in Danville? Oh, I know. I've already got it. I've got it downloaded. It's already filed with the federal agencies.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Whoops.
transparent about that. That's part of my case anyway. They already know I filed that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious. We'll talk more.
See? As I said, I'm very transparent.
Yeah.
I Actually, I wanted to ask about or talk a little bit about the music and like how you have the shop like going by genre of music with the cannabis in there. How did you come up with that idea? Like, what got you to do this? You know, I've never seen really anything like that, and it was fucking awesome as hell to see that.
Thank you. Well, it started with the memorabilia that is on my walls at home, and one
Needing
day
a place to park it.
there are things that there's no room on the walls. I have a city house, so it's
Right.
not like
Right.
spacious, but we've got
Like Del
a
Preston's
whole
house.
15, 20 years worth of collecting. Some of the people we met in person, like the Queens of the Stone Age ones you saw in there, and the Ozzy stuff, but like other ones we bought at that event every year at Park West. And so my wife was like, I think you should bring some of the stuff down there for the lounge, because we built the lounge when we built the building, but we've been trying for 2.5 years to get it approved locally. And we didn't know if we'd ever have one, right? So I said that to my wife. I'm like, well, we don't know if we're gonna have a lounge. Maybe it'll be a cafe or a bar even, who knows, right? But I like the idea of having that vibe, in the dispensary. Let's just put it in the dispensary. We know we have the dispensary.
Right.
So that's how it got in the dispensary, the music component to it. But, COVID continued, the delays continued here. We kept thinking about the business and what do we want there, and we had nothing else to do, right? So there's this speakeasy in Chicago in Wicker Park. What's it called? It's on North Avenue, and it's like a fake record shop up front.
Oh, I don't know.
And then you walk in, and it's like a bar.
Oh, that sounds kind of cool.
So it's right on North Avenue near Ashland.
It's up your style.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. That
Yeah.
sounds cool as hell.
So I had been there once
Uh-huh.
with my wife, and we met some other people in the lounge, right? And so I knew what it was, and then we were late, so I was kind of like rushed in. But the first area, when you walk in the door, then there's a host stand there. But down the other side of that room was like a record holder, kind of like the one we showed on the tour,
Okay.
in the back. And it had a whole bunch of records in there, right? And I was intrigued by that, but I never went down there because I was in a rush to get into the bar because we were late. But then sometime many years later, right? This is like 10 years ago I was there. I was driving by it and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that place. It's pretty cool. And I thought about the records for a minute. And then I was like, that's what we need in the store. That's what's missing, is we have to sell records. And it was cute that they had it like as decor, right? And I've been to other stores where there's a record player and a few albums on the wall in Illinois and in Michigan, but no one's selling the records, right? So I was like, wow, that thing that had the records in there was really cool. So I started thinking about it, and then like, okay, some people were like, oh, well, why don't you use the lounge space as the record store next to the dispensary? And yeah, it could work. But I really felt like after my experience being in that building and not going to check out those records and not knowing if they were even for sale or not, I still don't know because I was only there the one time. And I thought to myself that if we have the records in a different place, people won't go to it.
Right.
They're just going to go in and get their weed and leave.
Yeah.
You know? A very small few people would have time to go do that. So I felt like everything that we're doing, whatever it is, it had to be in one room and just intertwined so we force people to look at it.
Yeah, but also just the way everything kind of rolled out during the pandemic was you needed to get in and get out. There was no milling about inside any dispensaries for what, two years?
Right, curbside pickup and stuff like
Right,
that.
like that was like the best, one of the best things you could hope for. I was living not far from Springfield, and I remember waiting in line for like an hour and a half just to get into a place. and then being like, man, how much do I need to buy so I don't have to come back here?
Yeah.
You know?
No, I get it. I get it. But like, you know, it's a big store, so we had the room to put it all in one place, mainly. But then, you know, it's just like I envisioned the way it's set up, but we have like a real killer interior design firm.
You really do.
Yeah,
I mean, it looks great inside there.
Yeah.
So cool. This whole area, this whole
You know,
area is so
that back
fucking
with the
awesome.
speaker wall,
Yeah.
that's like an adult version of Marty McFly.
Yo, yeah.
Rocking out in front of, you know, Doc Brown's, you know, 6 foot around
I feel
speaker.
like you should have like a beanbag chair and headphones. You can just sit there and listen to it while you hang out.
Yeah, you get one of those ones that's like 8 feet around.
Yeah. That's not going to be too far from like what we'll have going on in here, because where we're sitting right now, like in this corner and in that corner over there,
Yeah.
I really want to have like a loungy area so that a couple, you know, groups of people will experience that, and with the stage right in the middle. So
Right, nice.
whether we have an event going on where we're just doing trivia or whatever, you know, at least we'll have some lounginess to the room, whereas everything else would be like booths and tables probably, but, you know, hopefully comfortable. But the beanbag idea would work in the corner right here.
Just chill and melt right into it.
That's its own booth, you know?
and we'll be able to have listening parties in here and stuff. So like a record release, like, look, okay, Taylor Swift, right? We got, you know, something for everyone.
Right.
She has a new record drop.
Right, you have a
we got
listening
Swiftie
release party.
I will honestly say that's the first time I've ever seen a Taylor Swift album, record, or anything. I'm looking at the back and I'm like, that looks like something that should have been a meme on Reddit.
A meme on Reddit?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
you
got it.
But we don't want her lawyers coming.
yeah, you can't say anything bad about that, dude. It's not only her.
But I've actually never seen up close one of her records or CDs.
Right,
Neither
Right,
I
neither
can
have I.
honestly say that.
I think we have 13 of them.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
Because we made it a point a couple months ago to start buying all the records being sold in record stores today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Instead of just whatever.
Yeah.
And so we have like 150 of the top records being sold, and she has 13 of them in that list. So,
Oh, no
Oh,
shit.
wow.
so we
Yeah.
took them all. I mean, we're not selling all of them, but
Right.
we got them. You know?
I wanted to buy a record the other day because we have a bunch of records and record
Yeah.
players by
Yep.
by us at the studio. But it sold out by the time I got it. Miller High Life was doing their Sounds of the Dive Bar
No.
record. Did you see that?
No.
They did a record called Sounds of the Dive Bar,
Okay.
and they made a pressed record. In the middle, they filled it with High Life. So when it moved around, you saw the High Life moving around in the record. Conceptually, I thought it was cool.
It looks that sounds awesome as hell. I know you were talking about that. a couple
Didn't
days
someone
ago,
else do
man.
it with blood on one of the artists? I thought I saw that.
Well, in Michigan, you know, Jack White has Third Man Records.
Okay.
You know, they create vinyl records in Detroit and in Asheville, and they have like a retail store, and then they have this, you know, record pressing facility, and they're connected, and so like in the store part, they sell the records that, you know, that they produce through Third Band. I think this band's called Sleep, and I had read about this just through Cannabis News like 3 or 4 years ago. But then, like, we have a license in the Detroit area for dispensary. And
7-Point as well.
It's not operational
Okay.
currently. So we might sell it. We might open it. We're trying to figure it out. But it's in Metro Detroit, and so there's this grower there called Doghouse that we're friendly with there, and we went to their grow facility in Detroit, and they had up on their wall this album from Sleep, right? This Third Man thing, and they gave it to him because they provided cannabis leaves to Third Man Records.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they pressed the leaf into the vinyl. And
Oh,
it plays, the vinyl plays.
Oh, dude, I feel like I heard about that.
You may have.
I think I've heard about that, too.
Like,
You may
yeah,
have.
no, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yep.
Holy
Yeah.
shit, no.
So they supplied the leaves, and so they got this, like, you know, like award-winning thing looking
Right.
like, you know, it's cool as shit. And So like, there's all sorts of collaborations
Yeah.
with music, and we like.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they go hand in hand pretty fucking decently.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the
Shit.
Michigan market as well. We had a facility near Battle Creek that I did all the licensing for and the
Nice.
construction and build out for
Nice.
indoor and outdoor.
Nice.
I wanted so another question about this stuff, right? How do you pick the genre or the type of cannabis that goes with the genre of music?
That's something that like we want to do, right? That's
Alright,
something
okay.
that like our staff can make recommendations.
What do you mean?
Well, like we could say
Like pairing wine.
I was
pairing
gonna say-
pairing music and cannabis. That's like right now we're getting some staff picks and we're putting them out there on our website.
Are you gonna do it on your machine so when you put it down, pairs great with?
We
This type of music,
Yes.
this genre right here, yeah,
our
like that.
our goal. Okay,
That would be pretty cool.
We're super busy, right?
Yeah.
But our goal that we had talked about before we opened was to the growers. We said, look, we could tell you the records that are dropping, right?
Uh-huh.
We're a real record store. We get the records, like 2 or 3 days before the record's supposed to drop, so we can get it ready. It's just like every store, right? But let's, get the pairing going. And so potentially we could say to the growers, Taylor's got a record coming out, Pearl Jam's got a record coming out. Which one do you associate with? And let's say, we think it pairs, this strain pairs with a new record coming out. Now, we could do a special, and if people want to buy the record with it, then we'll give a discount for the record. And so we've done all sorts of discount stuff with the records to
That's
get
actually
people
fucking cool as
to
well.
get people into buying records, and we have flexibility.
Turning them into just
So-
pop-up events too.
Yeah.
What was the movie that paired with the song? Remember?
You're talking about what the fuck was it? Was it called Wizard of Oz?
Yes, where it paired.
Yeah,
remember where you watched the whole movie and it timed up perfectly with the
Oh,
album?
it was
With,
Wizard of Oz and The
uh,
Wall.
Yes.
It was it
Pink
So-
Floyd, The
Pink
Wall.
Floyd?
Yeah.
Was it The Wall
So
or
if-
I thought it was.
If you did pairings
it
with
was-
that of different stuff, where you
Maybe
did your
the-
movies nights and your consumption, where you put like the projector up and you did the movie with the album soundtrack, where you don't hear it, you just watch it with the
Yeah.
music, and then you did the pairings and you did a artist preferred night, like a culinary thing. I could picture that being really interesting.
That
Well,
would be a cool
these
thing.
vendors want to come in here, the growers want to
Yeah.
come in here and bring like their little tent and
right.
have a dab bar in here and the Puffco with the, vapor, and just like it's going on at the Keefe Fest right now.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
what happens in these lounges because no one has them, and they're in demand from the growers because they can have that connection with the consumer that they don't typically get.
So I've been at consumption lounges in Vegas, and that was more of like a bottle service feel. I don't know how you're going to do it, but when I was in Vegas one, it was bottle service where you had to pre-buy a package of amount of product. But the issue is due to overconsumption and everyone having different tastes, you picked a package with different type of things you could get, and then they would come over and serve you a little at a time and judge you. Even though you paid for it all, they wouldn't give it all to you. They would be like, okay, you can have this much to dab. And they'd check on you in like 5 to 15 minutes. Okay, you've had, I'm like,
The difference in Illinois is that we can't sell the product in here.
yeah.
So, have you guys ever been to the Rise Mundaline
No.
Lounge?
I've
No.
seen it, but I haven't.
Yeah, so that one is like, we're modeling it more off that
Yeah.
one.
But I wanted to tell you that because I don't know if you've been to those in Vegas where they did that, where
No.
it was like $500 or a couple $100 for a package, and it came with this amount of
No,
pre-rolls, this amount of,
that's super fun and cool. I
Yeah.
love it. But like,
can't do that.
Illinois is not cool like that. And GTI actually figured out how to sell weed in their lounge. So they were like the only ones probably doing it. But the way it worked was the other side of the wall was their vault. So it was the back of their house, and they punched a hole in it and put like a window door there.
Right.
And they just passed through. So they had a dab bar, like we're gonna build a bar, like people could sit there and dab or whatever, but we designed this so that we could punch a hole through and get to a spot where we could deliver weed through that window. But the state changed the rule and outright said you can't serve in the lounge. People have to buy it in the dispensary and bring it in on their own. And so we set this up so that we could have done the same thing that they were doing in the ride store and pass it through, but now they changed the rule and we can't.
So, I mean, I don't know how it'd work, but like, can you do a time package where when you go up and you buy products like you're pre-ordering, where I want to buy this, this, and this, and I'm gonna do a pickup delivery every 15 minutes, and they walk back in and pick it up.
They can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
They can go in and out 100 times. You know what I
Right.
mean? Sure, they can buy some stuff and sample it and be like, oh, I want to go get some more of that because I liked it, and that's why this is like kind of a tasting room.
Right. So then you have
know?
like one little register set up as like a fast pass for the consumption lounge.
Well, we have Express in there. So like it's not fully operational yet, but we have a real Express thing that we're creating now where it's going to be a lot faster than it is now for the online orders. And in here, we're probably going to have like people could order on their phone if in there, right? But we might have a tablet on the table for that. We also might bring in the technology where you can pick up the products and learn about them. We might bring some of that into this room too, because then, you know, the brands that want to support us in the lounge, we can support them better too by giving them, you know, their brand recognition in a less crowded environment in this room. There's not going to be too many sponsors in here. It's a small room. In there's hundreds of brands.
And then,
Right.
are you gonna, for a winner, are you gonna do some type of cover out back, like a pulling awning or a
It would
pergola?
be super cool if we
Yeah.
could do that, you know? It would be super cool.
Umbrellas
if we could do
turn
that.
into
I don't
heat
know.
lamps,
Yeah,
right?
real quickly.
Yeah, I mean, we could double the size of the space if we closed off the whole backyard. So
Yeah.
it just depends like how this evolves. You know, we're not open yet. We don't know. But we want to be known for having regular nightly fun music events that, you know, open mic, karaoke, live band karaoke, where there's maybe a couple instruments behind the karaoke person.
And we'll have, when it gets up and running, you let us know when it's built. We want to come back and check it out.
Yeah.
Especially for the karaoke, Joe loves singing.
Oh, no. That's
No.
Mike's job.
Yeah.
No, that was
You?
other
No,
Mike.
yeah.
Other
Yeah,
Mike.
that's what I said. That's Mike's job.
Not this Mike.
That's Mike. Both Mikes.
No.
Why would you have the
guy
golden
who
mic
sang-
then?
You got the
guy-
golden
the
mic
guy
because
who
you're the
sang-
Get
singer.
golden mic because you
The
sing.
guy who sang the Family Matters thing.
I
That's
play with
Oh,
the I
yeah,
play
yeah.
with the beats. You play with the mic.
right. It's all going through auto tune anyway.
I know. Put the helmet on. You'll be fine.
Yeah, I can't wait to have you guys back when we can smoke in here.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
No,
Ooh. So I got to ask, because I haven't been in a dispensary, honestly, in Illinois in forever. There's only one product that I use, and it's Doug's Variant. Have you had it yet here?
What is it?
Doug's Variant. Doug's Variant is the highest THCV strain there is. I've only ever done.
Oh,
like,
THCV.
It's the only thing I
Wait.
ever like, and the only thing
Edibles
I did.
or smoke?
Vape.
Okay. We probably, I don't know if we have
Never
THCV
tried an edible for it,
vape,
but-
I have been taking the THCV edibles lately, and I'm not really an edible person other than late at night, but like I could attest to the energy that you can get from like, you know, just even like 4 milligrams of THCV. But we have 2 products in the store that we'll hook you up with.
Well,
You can-
yeah,
you can
I've
try
been
those.
telling these guys forever about it.
Yeah.
And like when I first found out it was in California, it was Doug's Variant.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, I told him, I took a hit of this and I started working out. I started running. I hit
Yeah.
the treadmill. Mike met a guy in Michigan with me and he was talking, this guy was talking about he hit it and he felt like he did crack and he cleaned out his
No,
garage.
his wife thought he was on meth.
Yeah.
That's what he said. He goes like, so we're talking about it because we just we hit like 4 dispensaries in Michigan in like on a roll, right? And just talked to everybody, asked them all about, you know, give me your best flower, a couple of cartridges, and what do you got for edibles, right? And it'd be like, just let's check it all out. But then we kept asking about the THCV. Everybody had known of it, but nobody carried it. Nobody knew where to get it. All it is it's small amounts inside of this or inside of that. So this one dude
I like
that
it.
we're talking to, he goes, wow. He goes, yeah. He goes, I painted my entire garage. he goes, my wife thought I was on meth. She was ready to divorce me because she thought I smoked meth and decided to paint the whole fucking house.
And I love this stuff. And I've been swearing about it for years. And my goal was to try and get it and bring it into Michigan and Illinois in large quantities because I was familiar with it years ago in California. Sadly, the partners I'm now suing said it was stupid and no one would like it. Basically, it was not a product they wanted here.
Yeah,
torched
people
it.
don't know
They
about
kitty
it,
littered
But once you know, it's going to be like...
we tell people about it, and I have friends locally that I've like just given it to them. So I'm curious to know what other people think about it.
He had it.
And
in
everyone,
Michigan. They made him kitty litter it. Seriously.
Yeah.
No, I paid for the seeds from the original plant that they bred for it to bring them in.
He had them growing.
Yeah.
And when they decided this is stupid.
Because they didn't think it fit the revenue model of mass production.
Yeah. Well, GTI, who's got the Rhythm brand, they have 2 edible products. That one is the Bebo one. We were looking at that on the tour. That one of those it's 4 milligrams THCV, 2 milligrams CBD, and 1 milligram just regular THC. Okay. So it's not really psychoactive, and it's just 4 milligrams. And then the Incredibles one, that one's lemon lime, and I don't think it tastes that great, but it works very well.
Yeah.
That one's 10 milligrams. Like
not all medicine tastes good, right?
Right. But it does the trick.
The Bebo one is more like a fruity flavor, that tastes better, but they both like do the trick. And my wife, like, she likes to try edibles that are like 1 milligram, right? That's what she likes, and everything makes her tired. But the THCV ones did not make her tired.
See, I'm so glad I found someone who actually enjoys it and knows it. Because I tell them about it all the time.
You're not the only person that we've met that, obviously the guy whose wife thought he smoked meth. He really enjoyed it.
Let's be honest, after we met him, he probably did smoke meth.
Look, I don't know. You don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a specific drug, I guess, to call out.
I know, right?
I feel like this might be like a good enough.
Yeah, I mean,
I think
this was
a good time to
great
cut
sit
it
down,
out for a week.
unbelievable place. We can't wait to come back. If you're in this area, come check it out. If you're not in this area, come check it out. I mean, it's a unique experience for someone who's been to a lot of dispensaries.
Actually,
Right.
Fucking
So,
awesome as hell.
I was always told Planet 13 is like the Willy Wonka or Disneyland of cannabis in Las Vegas. I'm thinking this place is more like the Hard Rock or the Planet Hollywood, where it's an experience you come to see not only memorabilia, but you have a feeling of something other than what they're trying to sell. It's a nice experience.
It's
really
got
is.
something for people, even if they don't smoke cannabis.
Exactly.
Come and look at the records and maybe
Eat the candy.
Eat the candy for sure. Get a drink. There's a lot of things to do, and we're trying to bring the fun since the weather is breaking now, and with the food truck and the one other thing that we didn't mention here was just we mentioned it outside was with like our collaboration with the farmers market. That was 2 Saturdays a month in this room that just stopped last month. And, now we want to take it to the next level with them. They already have their location for the summer that they'll be out there in full force, but they have other people that want to break into the farmers market and maybe they don't have space for them over there. So we're going to try to bring, a whole mini market here in conjunction with their other bigger one and just expand it.
I think that's great, getting the community involved and everything. But I will say, just to throw it out as a joke, I love Mike, and he usually is on for movies. If I was sitting in Mike's seat and I was sitting here, I'd be yelling at me, "What's in the box, Joe? What's in the box, Joe?" Because you got these lovely wood boxes with your brand on it.
Good question.
But it says 7. So I was thinking the movie 7. But I do got to ask, what's the boxes for? It's amazing. They look great.
I was curious about them too.
Yes.
Actually.
Okay.
I
I'm
had to do
so
it on
happy
camera.
you asked because I have a good answer. So these boxes, there's a few of them in the store, but in my office, next time you'll come by my smoking office, it's in Danville, 10 minutes away. We have there's probably like 70 of these stacked up in the office. So these came from our first store that we had in Oak Park. And I'll show you pictures if you could share them with people maybe. But we had a humidor style display case.
I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
We had a humidor style display case
Yeah.
in between 2 counters in the old store.
Uh-huh.
And you only walked in if you were an employee from the back behind the counters. but the shelving in that glass case had 100 of these.
They're stunning.
Okay.
They look great. Like,
No, they're
So,
just.
so we used them to store our products in that we gave to the customers from here. So I'm not sure if this one. So I pay attention. So here we've got these
yes.
little cardstock holders, right? We have these cardstock holders, right?
Yeah.
And so we had a little card in each one of these that said the name of the product and the strain. So we kept all our flower products in these containers, and they had 4 slots in here, right?
Uh-huh.
And so we could have eighths and joints and quarter ounces. And so we had 100 of these boxes. So we had 4 things in each box. So we had 400 products at our disposal. If someone ordered it, we just walked right into this room and gave it to them. And if they ordered edibles or vapes, we had to go to the back to get it out of our vault.
Brilliant marketing. Great
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we
it
like
was
it.
kind of a
Yeah.
collaboration, like the glass, room. That was my idea. And I have a little wine cellar in my basement. And, so I was sort of thinking about wood wine, crates and stuff. And so when I explained what I had in mind for this thing to the designers, they came up with this, and we got a branding iron for the 7-point. And then the guy who made all our millwork, in the store, he made these boxes and put these in, and it's people appreciate it and like it, and we'll probably auction some of these off,
Oh, yeah.
over the summer, and people could plant a plant in there or keep their weed in there, but it's just again, it's just memorabilia from our last store.
Very
amazing.
cool.
Looks
No, they
amazing.
really are. Actually, so before we end up, did you have any last things to
Or
say?
people you want to shout out
anybody you
or
wanna shout
give
out,
props
whatever,
to
yeah.
or thanks or
I don't have any props really, but we just we're here to establish relationships in Vermilion County and the city of Danville and throughout Indiana. But we're looking to bring our own little ecosystem to Danville so that people can come enjoy things and check things out without the pressure of walking into a cannabis store where that's all there really is cannabis. So you're kind of stuck buying cannabis. And if you're maybe unsure if you want to, or if you're inexperienced at it, maybe you just need a little other reason to get pushed into the dispensary.
Gotcha.
The records and the snacks and accessories are all cover for that. The food could bring people to the property just to eat, but then they'll be oh, you can get records. And then we want to sell records out of the food truck, and the records will be on the truck menu. And so if someone buys a record, then we could just run it to the truck from here.
oh wonderful.
Oh,
Perfect.
yeah.
There was a solid record store here until a couple months ago. They closed because they had a problem with their building, and it was called Chart Records. So now there's not a record store in town as of recently. So there could be people that want to buy records that just can't come in this
guys are it.
21.
Yeah.
You have to be 21.
Right.
Yeah.
So we just want to make records more accessible
Sure.
too.
Oh yeah, no, that's awesome as hell. I feel like it's I mean it's hard as hell to get records right now, and I love them. I have a lot of vinyls myself, and I know you do also, and dude, there's cool little stacks
Stacks and stacks.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, well, it's 2023 and 2024 have continued to grow the vinyl industry, and
Yeah.
they're every year beats the year before. There's more records being sold now than in the 80s or anything.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's the 2024 is probably
amazing.
the record year. 2023 was a record year, and
Yeah.
because the young kids want to experience the music art and the pulling the sleeve out and what kind of treats are there in there. Maybe
No.
there's lyrics and It's fun. It's
Yeah.
cool. My kids have turntables now, and they can buy their favorite records, and we can buy our old school, 70s classic vinyl or whatever. Shit's getting re-released all the time. We're getting new Metallica records from the past,
Yo.
and then people buy them. Now it's a new release.
Come to 7-Point and rock out.
Yeah.
Come to 7
Come
Point
to
and
7
rock
Point
out,
or rock
Come,
out.
Alright.
come to
Oh,
7-Point and rock out.
or rap out, or
Rap
whatever you
out.
want to do.
Yeah.
And with that, thank you everybody for joining us at FN Around with the fuck arounds at 7 Point
In.
Danville.
Danville. Come on, why do you have to push it always? Fuck you. Hey, you're lucky I have this much memory on there right now, right?
Thank you guys so much for making the
Thank
trip
you for
down
having
here.
us.
This is so
We
fun.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
This was
It's awesome as
amazing.
hell.
And we can't wait to see how it grows and flourishes and what you build.
Yeah.
You have a great
Look-
dream and a great vision.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I'm Joe.
I'm Mike.
Mo, thank you for joining us, Brad,
Brad.
and have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Sounds good. It's supposed to be lower.